to kick us off, can you just tell us who you are, where you're located, and how you work with the Sierra Club?
Yeah, thanks, Elizabeth. I'm Pat Wilson, located in La Crosse. I am on the water team of the Sierra Club and also serve on the local La Crosse group, the Coulee Region Group Board, and represent them on the chapter board.
Great. Thank you so much for being here. So I grew up drinking water from a well. I turned on the tap on my faucet, and it never occurred to me to question whether it was safe to drink. We know that that's unfortunately not true anymore for many Wisconsinites. Can you talk to us about what the main water concerns in the state are?
Yes, contaminated wells have become a serious problem in Wisconsin, affecting homes all over the state, rural and urban. And nitrates are one of the big things that we are seeing now. In 2015, 94,000 homes in Wisconsin had nitrates in their water, and that's gone up since then, we know, because it is constantly been on the increase. Lead is another source of pollution, more likely to affect urban dwellers, although you could have lead pipes anywhere in the state. And PFAS is one of the new things that has come onto the radar, and is one of the more recent contamination sources. It's called a forever chemical because it doesn't break down and it mixes well with water. And we have right here in La Crosse more than 20 homes using bottled water now because of PFAS. They are next to the La Crosse airport. And bacterial contamination is another problem in the water in our state.
Wow, that sounds terrible. Where does all this pollution come from?
Well, nitrate contamination is coming from the agricultural uses. 90% of nitrate in Wisconsin water comes from manure or excess fertilizer runoff, stemming from inadequate safety or environmental precautions or careless farming practices. And the problem is increased as farming has become more intensive, particularly the increase in CAFOs in the state. Lead poisoning comes from water being supplied by lead pipes primarily. And PFAS are resistant to grease, oil, water, and heat, and they've been used in a variety of things. Stain and water resistant fabrics, carpeting, cleaning products, paints, firefighting foams, and their use in firefighting has been the most serious problem, I think, as far as getting into the water supply.
Wow, so it sounds pretty widespread. Can you tell us what the impacts of all this pollution is?
Yeah, nitrate contaminated water is harmful to everybody, but it's especially harmful to pregnant mothers and infants, as it may cause birth defects or blue baby syndrome, it's called. In adults, studies have found that nitrates exposure is a risk factor associated with gastric cancer, hypertension, thyroid disorder, and lymphoma. Elevated levels of lead in the body cause lead poisoning, and that can, especially in children, can lead to reduced IQ and attention span, learning disabilities, development delays, and a range of other permanent health and behavioral problems. And PFAS increase the risk of kidney or testicular cancer, or increased cholesterol levels, changes in liver enzymes, high blood pressure, and in pregnant women, high blood pressure or preeclampsia.
Wow, if that's not worth donating to us today to help with those issues, I don't know what is. Aside from donating today to help fund the work, can you talk about what some upcoming opportunities to address some of this pollution are?
Yes, and I will talk about the water team in a minute, because we are looking for ways to help with all these problems. And the Wisconsin DNR is working on revisions to NR 151, which is the rules governing runoff management. And they want to establish agricultural non-point source performance standards to reduce runoff of nitrates to the groundwater standard level of 10 milligrams per liter or less. And we need to make sure that DNR hears from people about this standard and that they do a standard that will achieve the goals that we need here in the state. Other actions include more local control over CAFO siting decisions and more DNR staff to inspect CAFOs and enforce laws regulating CAFOs. And I just wanted to say the Wisconsin Sierra Club water team is working on education to reduce nitrate contamination of groundwater. We want to see a strong nitrate rule. And what we're trying to do is support the strong nitrate rule and promote sustainable agriculture. Sustainable agriculture is a big way to help address nitrate issues. Last year, we had a public screening of the film Sold Down the River, and we had a good discussion afterwards. We've created a sustainable farming practice booklet that we're distributing, and we are preparing for screening the film Right to Harm. Try and help.
Great. So final question. Our theme for the Big Share this year is take care of nature and nature will take care of us. So aside, if you already talked about the grave health impacts of the polluted water, but what are some of the other impacts that we experience with polluted water?
Well, one of the things is the tourism industry is very important to Wisconsin, and it depends in a large part on clean water. We need lakes and streams for swimming, for boating, for fishing, and that's important to residents and visitors both. And excess phosphorus in the water is encouraged blue-green algae growth, and that's closed beaches and has killed pets from drinking the water, and phosphorus caused a dead zone in Green Bay, the water of Green Bay. So, and fishing is an important activity, and here in southwest Wisconsin, we have trout fishing is a really important thing for the economy. And there's been spills, manure spills that have killed many fish. So you know, tourism is one thing and recreation is another thing. And also water is important for industry and for business. And we need to have that here in the state too.
Great, that's so interesting. Thank you so much for joining us today and telling us about the work the water team is doing.